about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So anything that you are embarrassed to talk about or don't want to bring up, we bring up on this show. So any subject is open game. So if there's an issue that nobody ever gets to really talk about because they don't know how and they think it's going to stir up a lot of drama, or look, we will cover any topic you need. And one topic that I think there is a dearth of guidance on is, what do you do if you have a family member who is aging, that is alone, that's bored, and you need to spend time with them, but you don't have time. You don't have the patience. You don't like them. They drive you crazy. They make you more stressed. What do you do? So, and a lot of families are struggling with this, where there is a senior or somebody in their family that they need to spend time with or keep them entertained, and they can't, or they don't want to. So let's talk about that. There's always an answer. There's always a solution. So one, from the senior standpoint, okay? And I think about this with my kids a lot. If I age, and it might happen, it might not, okay? I've been bucking it pretty well so far, but if I do age and I get to the point, God forbid, where I'm alone, Corey finds a new wife, right? Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't want to marry me, and I'm alone. I'm going to rely on my friends and my kids to be my social outlet. And I'm very social. And so I'm worried that they're going to be busy. They're going to have their own lives, and I don't want to be a burden to them. So when you're older and you're aging, you're like, I only have X amount of days on this earth. I don't want to just sit and watch TV. I don't want to be sitting by myself. So a senior is going to reach out. Also, what's going through their mind? What's going through their mind is they might be leaving this earth soon. And so they want to spend quality time with their loved ones. So while you, as the younger child or niece or nephew, is like, I got stuff to do, I have my own life, they're looking at their calendar as the days are just slipping away. So you eventually feel guilty if they leave this earth that you didn't spend the time you needed to with them, and they were asking for quality time. But while they're here on this earth, you struggle being around them. They make you anxious. You're not having fun. You are being pulled in multiple directions when you have other things to do. So how do you compromise? Well, first and foremost, if you don't have to deal with it alone, don't. If there are other family members or friends, get them together and come up with a plan. You visit them on Mondays. You visit them on Saturdays. Come up with a plan. A lot of times, though, you don't have other family members or people to rely on. So you feel like it's only you. Well, let's look at your day. Now, my day, very crazy. I got a really, really busy day. In fact, I need to carve out more time for working out. I need more gym time. Yesterday I did a workout. It was an hour and a half. I still don't feel like it was enough. Well, then let's look at that. You need to exercise. But your family member wants quality time. What if you tell your family member to sit in a chair, like a wheelchair or something, and you will take them to the park and walk them around and do laps? You guys can talk. You're getting your workout in, pushing them and walking while they're spending time with you and talking. You can incorporate that. I remember with the baby, I got to work out. I got to go for a run. I put the kid in the stroller. Mommy needs to work out. You're coming with me. So that's a way where you could spend time and talk. Maybe don't run with the wheelchair, but you could do a fast walk. And even if they're not wheelchair bound, that's something you could do. Let's say you have to go shopping, or there's some things that you need to do. take them with you. Well, they'll just slow me down. They walk slow. Then tell them, look, you could come with me, but you're going to need to be in a wheelchair so I could move quickly. It's okay. A lot of times they would rather spend the time with you. So if you have errands to run or you have some things you need to do it. Let's say they, for example, they need to go shopping, but you also need to go shopping. Combine that. Now, let's say you are about to go home tonight and watch Netflix, or you might watch the Trump speech, and you're like, I want to watch something on TV. Take a look at the things that you want to watch. Is that something you could do with that senior? Will that senior also want to watch that same thing? Now, I understand a lot of these seniors are going to add commentary, and they're going to keep talking. And so I understand there are some seniors that you cannot watch TVs with or movies with, etc. But let's say there is a Netflix of all the things you have on your wish list to watch. There's something that you think they might like also. Well, then when you binge on that, or when you decide to watch that show, do that with them. There's actually a lot of things you guys could do together. Another great way to give your seniors something to do. So let's say your kid is in a school play, or your kid has a game. Bring grandma or grandpa to that game. You have to be at the game anyway. You're already spending 2-3 hours at the game. Why not then bring grandma and grandpa? This way, they get an outing. They also get to say they watch their kid's game or their kid's performance. So try and bring them along. And I get it's difficult. It was difficult to care for babies. It's difficult to care for a senior. I get that. But you just some very kind of creative thinking. And there's some things you could do where you could kill two birds with one stone. Because I'm telling you right now, if you don't spend enough time with them, you are going to feel guilty. 1-877-Doc-Daliah.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, YouTube, click like and subscribe. And if you ever miss our show, go to drdaliah.com. So Lee writes, Doctor, I can't relax. Every TV show these days is anti-Trump. Do you have a list of non-woke television programs? I actually don't. And Lee isn't the first person that's asked for that. Which shows are not going to bring in politics? It's now a lot of you are saying, well, Yellowstone. He should watch Yellowstone. I thought Yellowstone was great. I don't think I watched every season. I remember watching the first season, and then I got busy, and I might have skipped season 2, but I think I watched the final 5 or 6 seasons. I thought it was very good, but yeah, they do still have a little bit of politics and things like that in there, but they don't make you feel bad. But so it's interesting. This is something that's brought up, and I think, and I'm hearing from Lee and other people. Apparently, White Lotus. The White Lotus is a pretty popular show. They say it's like Fantasy Island. I don't remember much about Fantasy Island except the play. You know, I remember the Ricardo Montalban, but I don't really remember too much. I remember Fantasy Island. There was always some mystery or sex or something. I just don't remember the show. I was too young for it. I don't know if White Lotus is like that. White Lotus, I started watching. And yeah, they threw some politics in, but the latest show, it got ridiculous. So I don't want to do any spoilers, but basically White Lotus is a hotel chain. And it follows the guests that come that season. And there's always something that happens right out the gate, episode 1, and then they go back to lead up to what happened to that. It's a very well done show, but it's made the news because there were a lot of controversial things in it, like very openly graphic sex scenes. So it made the news. And overall, I think it's a fairly good show. Definitely not one of my favorites. But this last episode, they decide to take very cringeworthy and very uncomfortably an episode. They decide to take a conversation where it had to do with Trump. And they just basically bring him up. You voted for Trump? And they just went on and on about it, which I know they're going to try to say in future episodes how their political leanings might have I've been relevant to the plot. But a lot of people told me they're done with the show. Now, I want to still complete it and see it. I just hope they don't just continue to bring up politics. But Will and Grace did that too. The first time Will and Grace was on, it was fantastic. And then when they did that reboot and they came back, they had to, every episode, go after conservatives. And you couldn't watch it anymore. And I was a huge Will and Grace fan. Loved that show. They made the show unwatchable. And so here's Lee trying to relax, trying to go to these shows where they can, relax, and you can't get away from politics. Now, people were saying Game of Thrones got political. Maybe I'm naive, but I think they were trying to say, look at how in this season all the leaders are women. Well, I don't mind that. And it's not because I'm a woman, but I have no problem with there being a lead, like a fighter pilot, or there being a person that ends up being a star or a lead figure, if they do exactly what they do with the men in terms of showing how they earned it. We talked about this with Top Gun, and the first Top Gun, why is Maverick so good? I think Top Gun might have been the second Tom Cruise movie I ever saw, because Risky Business I was a little too young for, so my parents wouldn't let me see it. So here's Top Gun in the 80s, and Maverick is supposed to be a maverick, in his fighter plane. Well, why? Well, you saw his moves. So right out the gate, they showed you why he was good. So when the next Top Gun Maverick came out, they said, yeah, here's your fighter pilot. And, she was pretty, but did they show why she's the lead fighter pilot? Why they don't give you a chance to earn it. And this is, I keep bringing up the example of Rene Russo in Lethal Weapon 3. That was fantastic, where she's not FBI. She was not consumer affairs, internal affairs. She's internal affairs. And you meet her, and she doesn't get along with Riggs, Mel Gibson, and then all of a sudden, she gets involved in a fight, and she kicks some major butt. And this was in the 90s, and it was so iconic because, and I didn't think politics, I didn't think woke, I didn't think anything. I was like, okay, wow, this is a woman, and she, just like Riggs earned it in, the first movie, she earned it. You saw why she was a badass. And so with Game of Thrones, Khaleesi was a badass. Cersei, you saw how Cersei rose to power. You saw how, and so I didn't really look at and I am sure every show throws politics in there, but queens have been around and queens have been in power for centuries as well. So I don't look at it as something that is very, unrealistic. I know the Rings of Power, their first season really kind of confused people because they were like, is it really following what J.R.R. Tolkien wanted? But the second season I thought was really, really good. And so, look, if you want to escape politics, go to nature. I love going on a hike. I love walking, mountain climbing, rock climbing. I love being out there. And I think we have gotten so used to going to our computer, going to our phones, going to our video games, going to our Netflix. And no, you're not going to escape politics if you're going to tech. One show I liked was, it's about Kristen Bell meeting a rabbi. No One Wants This. That was very cute. I mean, maybe there was some politics in there. I don't remember it. But you could get out of watching that show going, that was kind of fun. Cobra Kai. I don't know if Cobra Kai has politics in it. Maybe I'm just now so used to filtering that out. But Cobra Kai, this last season kind of stinks compared to the other ones. But it's pretty cute. I understand people are looking for an escape. And I don't want you going to sugar. I don't want you going to alcohol. I don't want you going to weed. But the problem is you go to these shows and it is about the alcohol. It is about the sugar. It is about the weed. And this latest White Lotus, one of the stars is like, I need some weed. And that was a big part of that episode. And, so you aren't going to escape a lot of what's going on in society if you go to Hollywood. So you need to get away from Hollywood. And I am sure, some of you might have, a list of shows that you like to see that's, not as, and there are shows that do, like, I think Fox Nation has a lot of Bible type shows. Those are nice, but there's got to be more than, there. So for me, I've been watching a lot of sports. So I've been watching a lot of college basketball. And then when basketball ends, I'll probably watch a lot of hockey. And then baseball. And then football comes again. So for me, I go to sports. They've been, doing fairly well, keeping politics out of sports. But we live in a time where politics have gotten so big and so in our face and in our lives that, like the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, I couldn't wait to see that because I remember, growing up, seeing Saturday Night Live. No, they had to put politics in there. But they always have. That's just what they do. And there's a smart way to do it. You can do satire on politics, but when you try to make people feel like they are evil or wrong or uncomfortable, okay, that's manipulative. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So you're trying to incorporate more protein in your diet, eat less carbs. And the last few years, you have learned that eggs are a fantastic alternative to sugary cereal. Have an egg, have some avocado toast. Well, eggs are too expensive. Eggs are ridiculously expensive. And our egg prices have been rising now for years. And our previous administration did nothing. Trump, however, we're finding out over the last few days, has a 5-pronged strategy, a 5-pronged approach. And it's interesting. Let me kind of share some of this with you. According to Food Engineering, the USDA has unveiled this 5-pronged plan to combat avian flu and reduce egg prices. And I'm assuming this is also going to reduce chicken prices, as well as chicken wings and all the other things we're getting for chickens. Down comforters, if they're using chicken feathers for that. Do they use chicken feathers? Maybe not. All right. So this, U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has announced a $1 billion strategy to curb the highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, to help support the poultry industry and lower egg prices. This is going to be on top of funding that's already being provided to indemnify growers for depopulated flocks. This 5-pronged strategy includes an additional $500 million for biosecurity measures, $400 million in financial relief for affected farmers, and $100 million for vaccine research, action to reduce regulatory burdens, and exploring temporary import options. So those are the 5. I'll quickly go through those as well. Rollins says American farmers need relief. American consumers need affordable food. To every family struggling to buy eggs, we hear you, we're fighting for you, and help is on the way. Not sure how quickly we're going to be able to get these prices down unless if Trump and the USDA says, look, if you could bring down prices, you will be, I don't want to say refunded, but you will be subsidized by some of the money we're infusing to you. So first, they want to invest in biosecurity measures for all U.S. We don't want this happening again. So the USDA is going to expand its wildlife biosecurity assessments to producers across the nation, beginning with egg layer facilities to safeguard farms from the cause of 83% of these HPAI cases, transmission from wild birds. These additional safety measures have proven to minimize flu cases. The approximate 150 facilities that follow these protocols have only had one outbreak. So that's brilliant. Biosecurity audits also will be expanded. Free biosecurity audits will continue for all of these HPAI affected farms. Shortcomings for the farms must be addressed to remain eligible for indemnification for future infections within this outbreak. Biosecurity audits will be encouraged and made available to surrounding affected farms. The USDA is going to deploy 20 trained epidemiologists as part of its increased biosecurity audits and wildlife biosecurity assessments to provide actionable and timely advice to producers on how to reduce their risk at their facilities. These experts will help improve current biosecurity measures to focus on protecting against the spread through wild birds. And the USDA will share up to 75% of these costs to fix the highest risk biosecurity concerns identified by the assessment and audits, with a total available investment of up to $500 million. So farmers, they know how to farm. They know how to produce, how to manage the eggs, how to ship them. But epidemiology and infection control is a little tricky. So telling these farmers, see, this is what the Biden administration needed to do. It was, hey, guys, you need to curb the bird flu. And but the bird flu is coming at us. How do we stop it? These wild birds are bringing the how do we stop it? Nobody gave them that direction. So now the USDA is going to deploy these epidemiologists and give them options and teach them how to protect the birds. Might be too little too late, but it's about time somebody's doing that. Then they're going to increase relief to aid farmers and accelerate the repopulation. So let me see if I have this acronym. This is the Agricultural Department, is going to continue to indemnify producers whose flocks must be depopulated to control the further spread. New programs are being explored to aid farmers to accelerate the rate of repopulation, including ways to simplify the approval process to speed recovery. $400 million are going to be available to support these costs for the remainder of the fiscal year. Fiscal year ends in September, so that's a lot of money. They're also going to remove unnecessary regulatory burdens on the chicken and egg industry to further innovation and reduce consumer prices. So the USDA is going to work with the USFDA to examine strategies to safely expand supply in the commercial market, minimize the burdens on individual farmers and consumers who harvest homegrown eggs. We'll work with farmers and scientists to develop innovative strategies to limit the extent of depopulations. So, we're going to try to find ways where we don't have to kill the animals. And to educate consumers and Congress on the need to fix the problem of geographical price differences for eggs, such as California, where recent regulatory burdens, in addition to avian flu, have resulted in their eggs being 60% higher than other regions in the country. Now, number 4 is them working towards the vaccines, therapeutics, other strategies for protecting egg-laying chickens. So they are going to now work on new generation vaccines, therapeutics, and other solutions to minimize depopulation. Right now, all the farmers can do is kill the bird. What if they come up with a vaccine? What if there's a way to treat a bird? Or what if the birds don't have to be killed? Up to $100 million investment will be available for innovation in this area. There's a lot of consumers who say they will not eat a chicken or eat an egg if it was vaccinated. Well, they're going to look at that too. They're also going to work with trading partners to limit the impacts to export trade markets from potential vaccination. So they're going to look at the public health and safety and all of that. Whether they get it done or not, it's interesting. Usually, I've been doing this show for 16 years. When I would be talking about the government doing something, I'm like, well, so they say. There's something about this administration where I think they're going to get it done. I think what they say they're going to do, they're going to do. Then they're going to consider temporary import-export options to reduce costs on consumers and evaluate international best practices. So they're going to explore options for temporarily increasing the egg imports, decreasing exports to supplement the domestic supply. So if we are shipping eggs to other countries while our prices are going up, remember, supply and demand. The more demand, the fewer the supply, the higher cost. So if we could stop the bleed with our supply, keep the supply here, then we could lower prices. They're also going to evaluate international best practices in egg production and safety to determine any opportunities to increase domestic supply. So that is the 5-pronged approach. I like it. In theory, it sounds great. Probably the most important piece of that is they're going to help farmers not get the avian flu. The fact that there's facilities that have been so successful at staving this off, why the hell hasn't this been distributed, that knowledge distributed to other facilities? This is kind of embarrassing that it's only happening now. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Dr. Daliah, they're firing so many people. From what I understand, it seems like it's indiscriminate firing, and they do want to save money. And I understand some of the firings involved, like, for example, Department of Energy employees to be rescinded, saying, never mind, you still have a job. I believe that they have their priorities, and those departments are going to have protections in terms of their employees. As long as their employees are working. If their employees aren't working, those employees are going to get canned, and they're going to get employees that will work. So that's in fact, I'm hearing that this 5 bullet pointed email has to be done every week by some departments to show that people are working not just yesterday, but they're also working every week. 1-877 Dr. Daliah.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
Back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. Taking your calls, your questions, your comments. You could also email us at drdaliah.com. So this person wants to be anonymous, but they say, Doc, I have severe back pain and no one will help me. All I need at times is a pain pill so I can sleep, but no one writes them anymore. They keep wanting to give me Tylenol or Motrin, and they don't work. Any advice on how to ask for pain medication? So this is something that this has been going on since probably 2016, when the government decided to blame doctors for the fentanyl crisis, when there were other aspects to it, like the border and drug cartels. And so doctors got so scared of losing their license, got so scared of getting sued, even though in the early 2000s, not only would you get sued, but there were legal scholars saying it should be criminal and doctors should be brought up on charges for not controlling your pain. But it went the other way, where in 2016, many doctors say, I'm just not going to write them. And there are a lot of physicians that do not write narcotics. In fact, I do disability exams for the state, and when I review the records to see what happened when somebody broke their arm or broke their shoulder or whatever, even for a fracture, they're not getting pain medication anymore. They're getting Tylenol and ibuprofen, or acetaminophen and ibuprofen. And so for those people in pain, what do? And I'm mixed on how effective pain medications are. Pain medications don't work well on me. In fact, if I do take a pain medication after surgery, it gives me a bad headache. And I noticed when I've had surgery, Motrin did a heck of a lot more for managing my pain, an 800 milligram Motrin. The problem with an 800 milligram Motrin is that's a lot of an anti-inflammatory. That could affect your kidneys. It could cause GI bleed. If you continue to take anti-inflammatories, it could affect the heart. And so it's not something we could recommend chronically. Tylenol, over time, that could affect your liver. And so some people might just need that little bit of a break with a pain medication. The problem is if you have a condition that's chronic, your risk of becoming addicted to narcotics is exponential. And becoming addicted to narcotics is not fun. Every single person that's ever been addicted to narcotics wishes they could go back and have never started. And you become addicted fast. Very fast. Not to mention narcotics could cause respiratory depression and you could die. So it's not something a lot of doctors want to go to. And now with all the restrictions and all the red tape, and if you are going to prescribe a narcotic, you have to go through all this extra work to do it. There's a lot of doctors saying, forget it, I'm not going to do it, just take the Tylenol or Motrin. Well, I, being a physician, the reality of it is you have people like this one listener where they have severe back pain. What do? Fortunately, there's non-narcotic medications that might be able to help in other therapeutic modalities. There's other things that could be done. There could be injections that will help decrease inflammation. If you have severe pain because of a herniated disc, sometimes there's also surgery that could be done or certain procedures. You know, I have some knee issues. I refuse to take pain medication for that. I just keep exercising. The more I exercise, I'm fine. But if it does get to the point where it's bone on bone and an injection doesn't solve the pain, I'm going to have surgery. Because the pills are so temporary. And so before you start taking medications, you have to ask yourself, do you think you're going to still be in pain 7 days from now? If you don't think the condition is going to get better in 7 days, then there's a chance you're going to become dependent and then eventually addicted and grow a tolerance to that pain medication. So you need to work very closely with your medical provider on options. Now, ice is a fantastic therapy, or using moist heat or alternating ice and heat. That works really, really well for pain. But I know a lot of you are like, oh, Dr. Daliah, blow it out your butt. You've never been in real pain. Yes, I actually have. And when I have a migraine, whoa, ice, heat, no. And the problem I have with a migraine is if I don't nip that sucker in the bud early on and I try to play around with ice or heat or whatever, no. And I don't really want to put ice on my neck. I don't want to mess with my vessels. So I might do moist heat. I might stand in the shower. But I know my migraines, if I don't nip it in the bud and I try to do other things. But what works for my migraines, I use Excedrin migraine. A pain pill does not handle my migraine because it comes back with a vengeance. I am deathly scared of taking anything for pain with my migraine. I have to knock it out with Excedrin migraine, and thank God I could do that. But Excedrin migraine has aspirin. So if you can't take aspirin, or Tylenol, you can't. It has aspirin, Tylenol, and caffeine. A lot of people can't take that. So I understand, having been in car accidents, having had surgery, I get pain. I get it. It's not easy. And I would not wish spinal stenosis or degenerative disc disease or neuropathy or amputation pain and on any cancer pain on my worst enemy. But it is going to be a lot more difficult to get control for pain, which means you need to address it early. And a big mistake people are doing is they don't have a doctor. They're using telemedicine, and telemedicine is fantastic in terms of increasing your access when it's a holiday and you can't see your doctor. But you guys are going to telemedicine after you have struggled for months. And sometimes we can't do much over the telephone. So before you go into severe pain, make sure you're already with an in-person provider. They could refer you to a pain management specialist. And pain management specialists have a lot more flexibility and a lot more training on different things they can do for pain. Spinal cord stimulators, injections, laminectomy, surgery, and try to prevent the disease to begin with. A lot of chronic pain is from diabetes, is from obesity. If you want to decrease pain in your back, lose weight. Start doing that now. Stay active. If a joint doesn't allow you to be active, don't just go back and sit down. Go to a doctor and get that joint looked at. Because one way to stave off pain is staying active and moving. I walk every day and I try to work out every single day, because if I don't, the pain will come back. People say, well, you're addicted to working out. You know, maybe it's because I am deathly afraid of the pain coming. And so I'm going to keep moving. And I still have a lot of weight to lose. So, I understand it's hard. So now to answer the question, let's say you are in pain. It's an acute amount of pain. What do you do? Now, I had a patient who said they were allergic to Lortab 5, so they need Lortab 10. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, that doesn't fly. So don't be lying about allergies, okay? Lortab 5 is just a lower dose of the narcotic. How are you telling me you're allergic to that and you need that? Yeah, please. But if you do have an intolerance or an issue where you can't take anti-inflammatories, you've had bypass surgery, you've had an ulcer, you've had a GI bleed, you have kidney issues, you need to let them know. Say, look, I just want to control the pain, but I can't take anti-inflammatories, and I'm in a lot of pain, and the topicals aren't working. You know, these are things I've tried. What else could be done? It's not that I want a pain medication. It's just I don't want to be in pain. And when you say it like that, because if you straight up ask for the medication, and I get it, there's a lot of people like, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is what I want. But explain to them, it's not that you want the pain pill, it's you don't want to be in pain. What can you do collectively and partner on to work on that? And that's the best way to approach it. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.